Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, right off the bat, my throat's a little scratchy. What's going on? Need your tea. How you doing this morning? What's everybody up to? This is Mitch, coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop on a Friday morning. I'm with you weekdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time from the coffee shop. We're going to look at 5 ways of telling a story, something like that. We're going to talk about how we can create a narrative in every video we make, regardless of the content, regardless of what kind of video you're making, you can create a story. And so that's what we're going to look at in depth. But this morning, I just wanted to touch base, sort of get a real simple glimpse at what we're talking about in our 5th law of story. We want to tell a story because a story rules. Story rules the screen. It's what entertainment is all about. It's what movies, it's what television series, shows, it's what novels, everything is about story. You have a story, I have a story, and we need to somehow figure out how to get narratives into our videos, because that's going to be the best way that we can grab an audience and keep it. Point number 1, every video should have a beginning, middle, and end. Even if you're doing a tutorial, even if you're doing a how-to. Well, does a live stream have a beginning, middle, and end? When I think about doing a live stream, how do I incorporate story or narrative into a live stream? Well, I guess one way to do that is to have a lineup. This shows you what we're going to do today. We've been hanging out very briefly, and then we're talking about telling a story. Well, part of my story today is the rain we've been having. It's been a wet couple of days, and it's in the forecast again today, so I don't know. Ooh, little rain. I don't know if well, that's just a little the way it has been looking. Last night it rained pretty good. This morning it's not raining too bad, but it did rain last night pretty good. And so this part of my story today in this live broadcast, this live stream, is trying to stay dry today. That's my main goal, is to stay dry today. I did have my umbrella yesterday during the live stream, and got all set up, had my umbrella out just in case it started raining when I was unloading my equipment and stuff. So that's all a part of what we're talking about, telling a story. What's the beginning, middle, and end of your video? Well, the beginning of my live stream is us hanging out. We're going to tell a story, have Q&A, and then toward the end of the live stream, we're going to look at a video and do a little critique. We're going to look at a YouTuber who has posted a video online, something I came across, and we're going to take a look at it. So that's one way that I want to try to build in some sort of a middle end, a beginning, middle, and end in my live stream, is by giving you some sort of idea of our format, where we're going, what we're going to be doing, so that you can know what to expect. So it can be done. It'll take some thought, but every video should have some sort of story. Introduce tension or conflict early, like I've got a problem or I've got a question or a challenge. That's what you want to do in your intro for every video. Try to couch your opening 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the video in some sort of a question or a problem or a challenge. I mean, just watch some videos at random on YouTube and see how many of the content creators start off with a question. You'll see it quite often. Or they'll start off with some sort of a problem that they're going to try to address. Like here's, they'll start off with something like 5 reasons I quit YouTube. The five problems I've had editing videos. They'll come up with some sort of opening that will try to grab the viewer's attention by issuing some sort of conflict or question or challenge early on. So it's always good to do that in the intro and then add transformation. What changed from start to finish? What happened to you during the video? Did something happen to you from the beginning? And then by the time you got to the end of the video, have you changed in some way? Now, all of this is hard to do with what we talk about, a talking head video, which is basically what I'm doing in a live stream. It's just me and the camera. I'm not really showing anything other than myself talking and looking at the camera. It's sort of a talking head video. And there are a lot of talking head videos, on YouTube. There is the person sitting behind the microphone at their desk in their studio, and it's just them and the camera. And there's not much going on. So now occasionally I will go the coffee shop. Here's the Lamppost Coffee. And you can see it's kind of busy this morning. Not too bad. It has settled down a little bit. It was really busy earlier on. But you can see that's basically me and the microphone and you. And we're just hanging out talking about YouTube and talking about social media and talking about creating content. And there's not much else going on. And so it's hard to come up with some sort of transformation. I mean, am I going to be the same at the end of this live stream as I was at the beginning? It's hard to do these things with a talking head type of video. It's hard to tell a story. That's why it's good for, I think, all content creators to get out of their office every once in a while and maybe go on the street or do some things that are outside of the studio, outside of their office. It's not just, you've got to have some difference in the atmosphere, difference in the setting, difference in the scene in order to try to tell these stories and try to get a narrative inside your video. It's very hard to do but maybe in a podcast type situation, podcast where you're just looking at the camera for 20 minutes and providing some content, maybe that's not real conducive to telling a story, unless the content itself is you telling a story. So I'm not real sure. Now, the video we're going to look at later, here in a few minutes, and critique is just a guy looking at the camera and telling a story about how he quit his job at Taco Bell. He went on for about 11 or 12 minutes, talked about his job at Taco Bell, how he quit his job, went to another place, found a job, and then eventually was offered a job for $100,000 a year, some sort of a narrative. But it was just him telling the story. So it can happen. Stories make facts stick. Emotion makes them memorable. And that's something else that we have talked about, is the emotional aspect and how we try to create some sort of emotion best we can. And I'm not real sure how to do that, especially in the format of a live stream or a talking head video. I mean, how can I, in this situation, in this setting, where I am just sitting here talking to you, like we're having a cup of coffee at the table, and I mean, how do I, I'm going to create how do I create a narrative? How do I tell a story? And how can I create some sort of emotion? It's just not conducive, because live streaming and talking head like videos are just not very conducive to that sort of thing. So it's a challenge, and I'm not sure it's possible. Maybe it is. Maybe we can add some things to the video to make it more of a story. And I don't know. There's got to be a way, though, you would think. There's somehow, even if it's a talking head video, there's got to be a way to create some sort of emotion, some sort of transformation that takes place. I mean, just think about what can be done. It's not easy. Even B-roll story beats can follow the story if done cinematically. Let's talk about B-roll for a second. B-roll is that footage that you bring in to help illustrate what you're talking about, and it's video footage that you have shot or that you have downloaded from a stock video service, or a clip that you've taken from someone else's video or a video of your own, and you've inserted that into the video to give you some support. It's B-roll. It's extra stuff, extra visuals that you've added to help emphasize what you're talking about. And the thing about B-roll is it can be overdone. It can be overused. It has to fit the story. It has to fit and make sense. And it can be done way too much. I see it as seasoning. It's like salt. Like salt on my eggs in the morning. I can overdo it. I can put too much salt on my eggs and it becomes tasteless. I can't eat it if I put too much salt on the eggs. But the same way with B-roll, I think if you add too much B-roll to your video, it becomes unwatchable. So the B-roll has to make sense, and it has to follow the story. It has to follow the beats of the story, and it has to just be used sparingly in a videos. So it's all about telling story. That's what we hope we can try to get into every video we make. And how we go about doing that is the question. And since I do a lot of live streaming, I'm especially interested in trying to figure out how to do this in a live stream and in talking head videos. I mean, that's the real challenge, is to figure out how to do that. How can I bring a narrative into a live stream? And one of the ways that I know to do that, perhaps, is just by talking about my own experience and something that may have happened to me, something that could have some meaning in terms of the live stream itself. About doing the live stream, it's it's set up, what I have to go through every morning, routine I go through to get ready to do the live stream, the fact that I'm in a public place. And if I can come up with some sort of story or experience, some illustration I can use to help emphasize something that's going on in my own life, that's one way that we can add narrative. And I think it's also true for a talking head video. If it's just you and the camera, you have to ask yourself, what kind of a story, what kind of an experience can I share today that lends itself to being narrative? It lends itself to reflecting on some sort of a story. Is there something that I could share with you that happened to me that fits the topic of the day, that will sort of illustrate what I'm talking about? So I think that's probably a good way to do it, is to try to come up with some example or illustration of your experience.